Let me ask about pesky little creatures called pedestrians and cyclists. They seem so humans are a problem. If we can get rid of them, I would. But unfortunately, they're also a source of joy and love and beauty. So let's keep them around.
They're also our customers.
Oh, for your perspective, yes, for sure. They're a source of money. Very good. But I don't even know where I was going. Oh, yes, pedestrians and cyclists. They're a fascinating injection into the system of uncertainty of like a game theoretic dance of what to do, and also they have perceptions of their own, and they can tweet about your product, so you don't want to run them over. From that perspective, I don't know. I'm joking a lot, but I think in seriousness, pedestrians are a complicated computer vision problem, a complicated behavioral problem. Is there something interesting you could say about what you've learned from a machine learning perspective, from also an autonomous vehicle and a product perspective about just interacting with the humans in this world?
Yeah. Just state on record, we care deeply about the safety of pedestrians, even the ones that don't have Twitter accounts.
Thank you. All right,
but
cool. Not me, but yes, I'm glad somebody does. Okay.
But in all seriousness, safety of vulnerable road users, pedestrians or cyclists, is one of our highest priorities. We do a tremendous amount of testing and validation, and put a very significant emphasis on the capabilities of our systems that have to do with safety around those unprotected, vulnerable road users. Cars, just discussed earlier in Phoenix, we have completely empty cars, completely driverless cars, driving in this very large area, and some people use them to go to school, so they'll drive through school zones, right? So kids are kind of the very special class of those vulnerable road users, right? You want to be super safe and super cautious around those. So we take it very, very, very seriously. And what does it take to be good at it? An incredible amount of performance across your whole stack. Starts with hardware. And again, you want to use all sensing modalities available to you. Imagine driving on a residential road at night and kind of making a turn, and you don't have, headlights covering some part of the space, and a kid might run out. And, lidars are amazing at that. They see just as well in complete darkness as they do during the day, right? So just, again, it gives you that extra margin in terms of capability and performance and safety and quality. And in fact, we oftentimes in these kinds of situations, we have our system detect something, in some cases even earlier than our trained operators in the car might do, right? Especially in conditions like very dark nights. So starts with sensing, then perception has to be incredibly good. And you have to be very, very good at kind of detecting pedestrians in all kinds of situations, in all kinds of environments, including people in weird poses, people kind of running around and being partially occluded. So that's step number one. Right? Then you have to have in very high accuracy and very low latency in terms of your reactions to what these actors might do, right? And we've put a tremendous amount of engineering and tremendous amount of validation into make sure our system performs properly. And oftentimes it does require a very strong reaction to do the safe thing. And we actually see a lot of cases like that. That's the long tail of really rare, really crazy events that contribute to the safety around pedestrians. Like one example that comes to mind that we actually happened in Phoenix, where we were driving along, and I think it was a 45-mile-per-hour road, so pretty high-speed traffic, and there was a sidewalk next to it, and there was a cyclist on the sidewalk. And as we were in the right lane, right next to the sidewalk because it's a multi-lane road. So as we got close to the cyclist on the sidewalk, it was a woman. She tripped and fell. Just fell right into the path of our vehicle. Yeah. Right, and our car. This was actually with a test driver. Our test drivers did exactly the right thing. They kind of reacted and came to stop. It requires both very strong steering and strong application of the brake. And then we simulated what our system would have done in that situation, and it did exactly the same thing. And that speaks to all of those components of really good state estimation and tracking. And imagine a person on a bike and they're falling over and they're doing that right in front of you, right? So you have to be really things are changing. The appearance of that whole thing is changing, right? And a person goes one way, they're falling on the road, they're being flat on the ground in front of you. The bike goes flying the other direction. Like the two objects that used to be one are now are splitting apart, and the car has to detect all of that. And milliseconds matter, and it doesn't. It's not good enough to just brake. You have to steer and brake, and there's traffic around you. So it all has to come together, and it was really great to see in this case and other cases like that that we're actually seeing in the wild, that our system is performing exactly the way that we would have liked, and is able to avoid collisions like this.
It's such an exciting space for robotics. In that split second to make decisions of life and death. I don't know. The stakes are high in a sense, but it's also beautiful that so for somebody who loves artificial intelligence, the possibility that an AI system might be able to save a human life, that's kind of exciting as a problem. To wake up, it's terrifying probably for an engineer to wake up and to think about, but it's also exciting because it's in your hands.